Greetings, Jedi traders. David here of TradingFibs.com to bring you the market outlook and recap for end of the week 25 as we lead into week 26, June 27th, 2016. As always, please seek financial advisement, as these videos are for educational purposes only to support your knowledge of the market. See what's going through my head on any given day. Always make sure you have a solid trading plan and always manage your stop when placing a trade. All right, guys, finishing up week 25. That's right, it was all about Brexit this week, and the vote to leave the European Union rattled the markets there. Take a look here at, again, the market outlook and recap. As each week I go ahead and I post a wonderful 97-page, somewhere around there, document that includes current trend momentum on both, that's right, current market cap leaders, ETF futures. Here you can see the key indices that we'll cover here in two separate videos included in this document. You go ahead and click on the weekly supplemental and brings you up to this document here that you can see in front of you. Again, covering not only the charts but a overall general picture of where the technical momentum is, both on a short term, highlighted here in the orange, and the green, currently in a downward, either a downward upward trend based on the long-term trend. Again, this is not any advice on whether to take a investment or a trade in either direction. It's just telling you where the current technical momentum is. More likely, higher probability is that when you have additional charts or additional studies from a technical perspective, it can supplement you in giving that you a little bit more information and say we might just turn and continue in that direction. All right, let's just jump right into the Spx Index. As we can see, price action, the two key moving averages that we look at here are the 4-hour and the 50-period moving averages. We can see the T3 moving averages here to the downside on the bigger picture. Price action on the 144 here, holding above, still giving us that technical momentum to the green side. But again, there's that Brexit reaction as price action came all the way down to Heikin-Ashi bars. But again, still the bigger picture overall on the SPX is still to the upside as long as that 50 is holding above the 144. Taking a look at the VIX here, obviously with the price action downside, we get the reverse on the VIX. Next video, you'll be able to look at how can I trade the VIX on an ETF and where is the current trend. But as far as indices right now are concerned, T3 moving averages holding up, 50 still above the 144 now. As we found a little bit of support in the last week. There was Monday's open. Price action again holding to the upside as we did in last week's review. You can see the trend momentum now on the VIX to the upside as we have 4 green labels on the upside. All right, what we do each week is here using the Thinkorswim platform, we take a look at 3 different time frames, just like we do in the daily live trading room, looking at multiple trends. Here we have the SPX on a 4-hour chart, a daily chart, and a weekly chart. The daily and the weekly are 50 and a 200 period moving average, where the 4-hour chart is a 50 and a 144. So as we just saw highlighted here, on the 50 144, we are still holding upside, but in a current downtrend, as we can see, the T35 and the T310 have come down on that Brexit vote, but price action still all across the board holding up on the index. So what do? We watch, obviously, we look at the higher time frame. Where's the support downside? First level of support will be the 50 around here, 23. We then look to the daily to see how far down do we come, and we see the next level down at 2020, and obviously the 4-hour chart for the short term, as we can see the SPX still finding that support there at 2062. So as we roll into next week, always be ready in both directions, whatever you're trading. But right now, with a small pullback here, we'll want to see each of these levels find support. If we find that there's support on any of these time frames and price action on the 4-hour chart pushes back to the upside, then we have confirmation that the trend is holding up. All right, let's jump into the other pictures here. Let's take a look at the DXY dollar index as price action again. A dollar getting a lift there on a downward trend, finding that reject there on the daily on the 200 period moving average here, 96.46. So that was pretty much the high, as well as while the 50 still remains above the 144. There was the price action last week. Well, this is a weekly. Price action for the last couple months has been in a pullback, even though the 50 well above the 200 period moving average. Price action lifting back upside. When does current trend really reverse? At least on the weekly picture, when we get back up above the 50. But for now, a nice little pullback. We'll see if the dollar can continue on the index. Watch for the 4-hour charts to continue and trend back to the upside, keeping those two labels in the green. Let's jump right into the XAU gold and silver index here. Price action again, holding up across the board. What a move on Thursday night. Friday session kind of just staled out, but again, green. Even though we are in a weekly reversal here on a pullback, there it is. There's that level. So if you don't see it on the 4-hour chart, you look to the higher time frame and say, how come we stopped right here? Well, there it is. 92.51 is the resistance here on the weekly. So how do I engage to know that that this will go any higher? Well, if we break that 92.51, it's going to take a while for our 50 to get above that 200 on a weekly, but here we can see the big picture has been holding very strong in the daily and the 4-hour charts. Optimal entries are always on pullbacks and back upside, so that's what you're looking for. You're looking for that T3 moving average to cross back upside on the smaller time frame, knowing that in the midterm here and on a pullback on a bigger time frame, you are upside. Taking a look at the XOI oil index here, price action again in a pullback here to the 144. Look to the, what do we have here? The daily here, price action again. Finding the next level of support downside 1094, as we are still in a downtrend on the oil, but again we've been pretty much for the weekly charts been chiseling sideways. Again, 200 period moving average upside. So for the most part, short term we are in a long position or upward trend, and for the short term, for the longer term, we are still in a downward trend. Taking a look at the NYA. The NYA being the NIC composite here, is price action again all across the board is still in a long trend or upward trend with the pullback here. Look downside to the 200 here on the daily, as well as we finding support already here on the weekly here at 10,175. Let's jump into the total stock market index here. Price action again dipping under that 144 on the 4-hour chart. Daily chart still holding up as we see the trend of all time frames here holding upside in an upwards trend, but watch for the pullbacks again to the 200 here on the daily, finding support there on the weekly. Amazing how just the 3 multiple time frames are showing those levels. So we break it on the 4-hour, look next to the daily. If we break the daily, then we look to the weekly. But right now, price action just a mere pullback on some volatility there as we head into next week. Trend to return on the 4-hour if we get back upside on a solid body tail up. So a very volatile week there, as you can see there on the 4-hour chart. Taking a look at the VTI again, same picture. This is the Vanguard ETF here as far as total stock market index, and the same picture there on the Schwab SCHB. All right, let's jump into the IJR. Jason Kelly index is following almost time to rebalance here. It's the end of the quarter, mid session, looking for 3% growth. Again, the 4-hour chart finding nice support here at the 144, encouraging as the bigger picture still remains in the uptrend and all in the green. Again, 4-hour chart holding. If it doesn't, price action comes down. Look next to the weekly as well as the weekly and the daily 200 period moving averages. And again, the MVV, the mid caps as well, same picture here, holding here at the 144. Let's jump into the industrials. Taking a look at IWJ, the industrials here, as we're finding similar pictures all across the board as price action again on Friday's Brexit vote there, reactions still for the most part upside trends all in the green, 50 above the 200s on both the daily and the weekly, 50 above the 144 on the 4-hour chart, finding that support there. We've already broken the 50, so the next level down we want to look for is the 103.38 and 103.55 if price action is to return downside. Short-term position, again, we're still 51.44, but again, we have the T310 downside, so showing a short-term pullback. Looking at the IWT, the transports, as price action again here. We now have a downturn on the transports. Price action again rejecting here on the bigger picture on the weekly. Not looking good for the transports, as now on the 4-hour charts we are headed downside, solid body tail down. So any confirmation of back upwards is going to really have to change the T3 moving averages here on the 4-hour chart. But for now, confirmed downtrend. Watch for the weekly to break here at 132, but as far as the shorter time frames, transports looking downside. Taking a look at the XLB materials here, price action, similar picture that we've been seeing here. T3 moving averages have been the 50 and the 200 crossing on the weekly, so not looking good here as the 50 is broken underneath the 200, but for the short term, we're still holding upside, 50 above the 144, 50 above the 200 on a pullback here to 46.13. If this breaks down, that will lead the support down of this bigger picture downside here on the weekly, and then you want to watch down here for 43.93 on the daily picture. All right, taking a look at XLE energy sector. Price action again has been in a downwards trend on the bigger picture. Short-term trend, we're still 50 above the 144, 50 above the 200 period moving average. Taking a look at the financials, price action again dipping down here, still all across the board in the green. Watch for the 200 period moving average here on the daily. 2161 is the 4-hour chart, is already downside. Watch for that to go into the red next week if the trend is to continue here, which will lead the daily as well. Taking a look at the technology sector, tech sector, again, reaction on Friday, downside, seeing the support there on the daily, on the 200 period moving average here at 42.42, as the weekly found support at 42.23. Currently, we are still in a green uptrend with a pullback. Taking a look at the XLP, the consumer staples, again, similar reaction down to the key moving average right here, 144 on the 4-hour chart. Green all across the board, both short-term and long-term, finding that support there at the 50 period moving average on the daily, and as well above, nice gap upside on the weekly. Taking a look at the XLU, the utilities, as price action again holding upside. Utilities really doing well on Friday, still not much of a reaction. Price action holds up on the 50 there on the 4-hour, and so 8 hours of trading there on the Friday session. Bounces upside, keeping the trend upside as price action both on a weekly, a daily, a little bit of a pullback, but get that solid body tail up, back upside, and get green, double green upside, and utility sector will continue to the upside. All right, and wrapping up with healthcare industry, price action again now to the downside here on a pullback, reject off the T350, not looking good, but we do find the support here at the 200 period moving average on the daily. And again, big term, long picture still in the upside in the green is the 50 above the 200s on both daily and the weekly. Short term 4-hour charts, price action breaking downside. If we get a crossover here and into the red, doesn't look good, and we'll eventually break that 200 period moving average on the daily. Weekly still has a long way to go to find the next level of support. All right, that concludes an insight in the current state of the indices and their ETFs. Feel free to stop by at tradingfibs.com or any of my social media outlets to obtain more information. My trading mantra of one simple strategy: any market, any chart, any time frame will keep you disciplined. You can find me every day on Twitter at TradingFibs, and as always, I leave the crystal ball to the experts. I only trade what's in front of me on my charts, and as always, I leave my bias at the door when trading. As we roll into next week, guys, take a look for GDP up on Tuesday. Yellen is up on Friday, so heads up on that. That will always move the markets. And obviously any fallout from the Brexit vote will take some time. Look for markets to rally. Look for markets to also come back downside. Always be ready in both directions, but you know where the current big picture is. Make sure you check out this week's market outlook. Again, Make sure you click on the weekly supplemental, get those charts covering a variety of the indices as well as the market cap leaders, as I'll review Apple, Amazon, etc. in its current trend. Hey guys, have yourselves a Blue Zone weekend as we roll into week 26 of the year. You would think summertime trading would be boring this year, but sure doesn't look like that. Sure looks like an exciting summer to come. Good day, good night, and good trading.